And here we have Pathfinder Battles Fist of the Ruby Phoenix. Now this is an adventure path. And an adventure path for Pathfinder, if you're not familiar, is a campaign usually made up of 6 volumes unless they've changed the format. I haven't played 2nd edition Pathfinder. And here's just a quick broad brush of these sets. We've got Contenders and Champions. We have Martial Arts Masters. Sindara the Sculptor in final form. We've got Tournament of Trials and Danger Island Denizens. Now, in case you haven't figured it out, the overall theme for this is kind of a martial arts adventure, you know, with an Asian theme. But it doesn't mean that all the minis are, you know, Asian minis. Here we have a barbarian. I love this mini, maybe my favorite one. Look at that shield, the mastodon tusks. Trident is an interesting choice. And I mean, you can see there's really good detail on the face. And look at this one. This is probably the coolest pose I've seen for a monk mini. Reminds me very much of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Maybe this is a waterbender or an airbender, or maybe it's just exactly what it was meant to be. This is Sindara, the Sculptor, which means this is also Sindara. So we'll take a closer look at that in a bit, but I love the translucent energy. You know, it's, as somebody who's always appreciated martial arts, you know, I've practiced judo for many years. You know, this is obviously a little bit different, but I did study a little bit of Wing Chun Kung Fu, so I really appreciate, you know, the pose and the moves. I mean, you can really see the motion in action, even though it's just a mini standing in place. All right, we've got another monk here. I love this. It's a half orc. Look at that pose. Gonna launch out with a roundhouse kick. Knock somebody's head off, maybe. But again, great detail. The sculpts are tremendous. You know I'm a big fan of the clear bases. Now, this mini is stellar. Look at that. The sorceress energy swirling about her. Great pose, great outfit. I love the fire swirling around her. Now this is more of a traditional monk. Look at that. Reminds me a little bit of Jet Li in the old Shaolin Temple movie. Like a commanding pose. Just, you know, these poses are so dynamic. You know, and if you're doing a martial arts set, they should be. They really should be. Here we have a catfolk. Tabaxi, if you want to use this in D&D. All right. Bard. This is an unusual instrument. Has a bow and arrow on the back. That's a really nice mini. It's nice to have, I like catfolk, so it's nice to have a variety of catfolk minis. On to the martial arts masters. Like, look at this. Even her hair is trained, lifting her up, walking her forward, maybe lashing out and wrapping around an opponent. Looks like a Chinese longsword in her hand. That is really quite cool, and again, dynamic. She's got some sort of animal companion on her shoulder. Once again, a dynamic pose in action, in motion, swirling about the battlefield. You can't have a martial arts themed adventure, right, without an Oni. Look at this guy, man. Is this a great big bad? You know, maybe a mid-level to, you know, maybe 5th to 10th level. This is the bad guy, the commander. That sword, man, he would swipe people in half, maybe take 2 heads off at a time. He's completely jacked. And he's not in a dynamic pose, he's in a commanding pose. And look at, he has like those wooden sandals on. That's pretty terrific. This one needs a little bit of reshaping, and that's easily done. And I think that had to do with the new packaging they put them in. They're in paper packaging, and it's kind of smushed. So you may find that happens. And the best thing to do is just dip them in boiling water, pull them out, hold them in shape that you want, and run them under cold water immediately. Now, this is a named figure. Many of them are named, but I'm not going to butcher the names. But this is this character, I mean, I don't know the Adventure Path, so I don't know what role this character has, but this could be like a cult leader, an assassin, a priestess, something cool. This was a favorite of my oldest son. I mean, a saber-tooth, pterodactyl-looking creature. This looks like something out of Johnny Quest. Pretty cool. And, you know, I want to comment, like, all of these figures that are up in the air, whether flight or, you know, leaping about, they have these solid bases. WIZK has really stepped that up. Some of their earlier stuff were on really thin, breakable plastic. This is pretty sturdy, I'm glad to say. Here's another named character, and I mean, maybe it is a ghost or a wraith, or maybe part of their power is to take some sort of spirit form. But makes a good spectral warrior, or ghost, or wraith, or whatever you want to use it as. This figure also needs to be bent back in place, but it's some sort of Tengu, it says. Certainly some sort of bird or raven folk of some kind. Looks like it's wielding whips. Cat of Nine Tails, maybe, I'm not sure. The great thing about these minis, whether you're playing the Pathfinder Adventure Path or your own Pathfinder adventure, you can use these and make them whatever you want. This could be my favorite one. I mean, come on, it's a Yeti martial artist in this amazing pose. I mean, even though he's still, I mean, it conveys such a sense of motion. Cape or jacket, I think it's a cape though, billowing out behind him. I hope this guy isn't a bad guy. If you've played this or you've read through this adventure path, comment in the post about some of these minis, particularly this guy and the barbarian. Let me know who they are. All right, Sindara the sculptor in final form. I mean, looks like there's organic and inorganic material, maybe. I don't know if those are blades. Certainly there's vegetable matter. This is an unusual mini, but I'm certain it has exactly to do with the story and the adventure path is written. And in which case, if you're running that adventure path, you don't want to fake what mini you're using. You want to be able to slap down Sindara in their final form. And since I haven't seen another mini like this, this is one you're going to want to get. And whether you're playing the adventure path or not, what a great mini. I mean, if I were playing this, I could use it as a creature from the Far Realm. What a nightmare-fueled creature this would be. On to Tournament of Trials. Let's see. All right. I'm a big fan of this one. If you have ever read Amulet, the graphic novel Amulet, this might remind you of a character named Leon in it. And if you haven't read that, I highly recommend it. It's a great fantasy story. Beautifully, beautifully illustrated. And this really looks like that character. I mean, look at this foxfolk. Again, whether you're playing the Adventure Path or not, you can find use for these minis. What if it was a lycanthrope, but instead of a werewolf or a werebear, it was a werefox? Some sort of curse laid on him. Or maybe you have foxfolk in your campaign. And again, maybe you're playing the Adventure Path, in which case you're going to want these minis. Let's see. Boy, this is some sort of vampire, according to what it says. And this one really reminds me of Big Trouble in Little China, the villain in Big Trouble in Little China. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But this is, whether you're using it as a vampire or maybe a lich or just a necromancer or an evil mage, this is a mini that you could use. And you don't have to play the type of Adventure Path adventure that Fists of the Ruby Phoenix, is. You could make your own story up and put this figure in as a bad guy. I love doing that sort of thing. Kind of a big fan of this mini. I love ogre mages, so Onis are really cool. And how nice is it to have, look at this, it's like an Oni bard conjuring fell magic through this instrument. I mean, that's pretty darn cool. And look at the detail on the instrument. The sculpts and the paint jobs and the detail, WizKids continues to knock it out of the park. It's always fun to have critters, more critters to throw at your players. Imagine having your player characters, maybe one of them wake up in his room in the inn and this is crawling on his chest. Do that. Watch your players crap themselves. That's always a good time. Here, it looks like we have another Tengu. I don't know what's going on. If he's a scribe or if this is some sort of strange instrument. I don't know. But I mean, this guy could be a cleric. He could be a minstrel. I don't know what he is. And if you know what he is, if you've read through or played through this Adventure Path, let me know in the comments. I'm curious. Here's kind of a sinister looking dude. He's standing at attention, ready, disciplined at the tournament, waiting for his turn to hurt someone. Kind of an interesting creature. Even could be used if you're running a Spelljammer game as some sort of creature from another world. Here's a named mini. I'm not gonna butcher the name, but check out the detail on the fur jacket. Some sort of ogre mage, maybe. I love that third eye. Hunter, perhaps. And it's a huge mini. I mean, let's take a look. I mean, you can see it next to a standard mini that is really big and a cool mini. I love having a variety of minis, so not all your Onis are the same. And I'm assuming this is an Oni. Again, In all transparency, I haven't played Pathfinder 2E. I played through Skull and Shackles, I ran it, and then I played through 2 or 3 books on Council of Thieves. That was my extent in Pathfinder, and I enjoyed it. All right, here we have the Danger Island denizens. This was a favorite in my house when everybody saw this one, this goblin. Looks like the goblin's got a hoopak. That's a Kender weapon from Dragonlance, if you're not familiar. It's kind of a crazy looking critter. I could see this being a reoccurring NPC. You never know if he's on their side or against the players, and they'd always wonder but never fully trust him. This one looks like he'd be a superhero villain. The Flaming Barbarian. He's got his leopard print outfit on, tough guy expression, and his hands and feet are ablaze. And he's pretty hulking. I mean, look at that dude is deadlifting, and he's pulling, you know, easily 100 pounds on his chainsaws and bent over rows. He's killing it. This creature is disgusting. It's like ripped in half, still flying around. I mean, this has got to be some, look at that massive tongue coming out of its mouth. This has got to be some sort of demonic being. And it's pretty terrifying. Look at that expression. I don't know if this is a new or old Pathfinder monster, but it's nothing I'd want to face. This thing is pretty gnarly. You could use this for what it is. It could also be a fiendish doppelganger, a demon of some kind. Pretty terrifying. Looks like he's got like barbs or something through his legs. That's pretty disgusting. This one is so cool. Rat folk. I love rat folk. I'm a fan. You could also use it as a were-rat. But I also like that there are rat folk. In high school, my friend created a rat folk race called Raz. Nobody played it. I wasn't interested at the time. But I like using rat folk as NPCs and villains in my game. And last but not least, this beauty. She really is terrific. I love the outfit, from her slippers, to her robes, to her haircut, to the staff, and hair, face. Just, let's see, how close can I get? Look at that. Great detail. I can't paint that detail. This is... So, here you have it. This is the Fists of the Ruby Phoenix set for the Pathfinder Battles. They're the Pathfinder Battles Minis for the Pathfinder Adventure Path, Fists of the Ruby Phoenix. And if you are playing that Adventure Path or you play Pathfinder, you're going to want these, particularly if you play that Adventure Path, so that you have the named minis. And I'm betting this is a villain, so betting that you'll want that to drop down when the final battle comes. Hope you enjoyed this look. See you next time, guys.